Hey Tyler, you guys have two really young guys on your defensive line, and Miles and Brian, who have been pretty good at their jobs this year. Since they've gotten here in January, how have you seen those two kind of grow in their role in these big roles that they've had as true freshmen?
They grow a lot. They came in. They were pretty much beasts when they came in, though. But they grown a lot, like just with the plays, knowing how to prepare. Most so mental. They already had the physical aspects, so they grown a lot in mental aspects.
Next up will be Ralph Russo from the Associated Press.
Hey Tyler, thanks for doing this. So I'm wondering, with all the weirdness of this year and all the things that you guys have had to sacrifice to just get to play, has it been stressful at all at times? The non-football things, the COVID related restrictions, maybe not for you, or maybe for you, or maybe for others. Have you guys had to deal with this, like, I don't know, picking somebody up or just, missing home a lot?
I mean, yeah. It's kind of been tough. You can't go home. You can't like go out and stuff. But that's a sacrifice you need to make to play this year.
Next up is Andrea Adelson from ACC Network.
Tyler, I'm curious, just in terms of the physicality going into this game, defensive line really stepped it up against Notre Dame, and knowing how physical the game was last week, how important do you feel like it's going to be for the defensive line to really set the tone and be the aggressors against Ohio State?
It's gonna be very important. They got one of the top offensive line in the country. Everybody, everybody on their offensive line is great. It's gonna be very important, though. It's gonna be very important to go in and just set the tone.
We'll now go to Brendan Gulick from Buckeyes Now.
Hey, Tyler, you obviously play one of the more physical positions on the field, and I'm just curious if, your perspective of playing 13 games or 14 games, I guess, as opposed to an Ohio State team that hasn't played as many games. Do you think it's an advantage or a disadvantage this time of year where, you're trying to balance the idea of being healthy versus being, in a good rhythm and on top of your game?
No, I don't think there's no disadvantage or advantage. You play the game, you get on the field, you play the game. Ain't no excuses or advantages, disadvantages. When you get on the field, everybody's the same. So there's no disadvantage or advantages.
We'll now go to Trevor Groves from CUTigers.com.
Hey Tyler, you obviously missed the first game against Notre Dame, and had a great performance in that defensive shutdown last week against them. How good did that feel to be able to get that kind of revenge? And how does Ian Book compare to what you saw from Justin Fields last year, just in terms of his mobility?
They it felt great, to get the win and be ACC champ again. But I feel like they're very similar the way they manipulate the pocket. They do a great job moving in and out, making throws outfields. They always have their head down, and then I just feel like they do a great job doing all of that, and they can make every throw. They just great quarterbacks.
We'll now go to Nathan Baird from Cleveland.com.
Tyler, what impresses you the most about Ohio State's offensive line, and what do you see from them on film that's allowing them to have the kind of rushing success that they're having?
I see like a nasty group. Like, they really get after it. They're very aggressive. They're physical. They play through the whistle, and they wanted to dominate their man.
We'll go to Lawton Swan from Clemson Sports Talk.
Hey, Tyler, just kind of a question looking back on the year. What's communication been like in the trenches, and how different has it been with a lack of fans in the stands? Just you guys, the ability to talk to one another, perhaps, right before the snap.
It's definitely easier. It's definitely easier on away games when you don't have fans. But like here, like when we played at Clemson, I couldn't tell no difference because the fans were going crazy. But at away games when you don't have no fans, it's definitely easier. You definitely can talk to somebody.
Go to Patrick Murphy from 24/7 Sports.
Tyler, you talked about Justin Fields and his ability. How much having played against him last year will be beneficial for knowing what he brings, knowing how he is actually live instead of on film? Will that be for your defense?
It definitely brings a different aspect to, it's always better to play somebody just instead of watching film on them. But yeah, I feel like I'm better prepared for him. It's gonna be a physical game. He's a physical quarterback that like to run and can make every throw. So I'm definitely better prepared this year.
We have time for one more question if we have another question for our guest. David Hale from ESPN.
Hey, Tyler, I'm just curious what this year has been like compared to kind of what you went through the previous year. How much harder was this path to get here because of all of the other things that you had to endure? Has it felt like a much different season, or has it kind of just felt like a twist on a normal season?
I just feel like it's different. I mean, I would say both seasons was kind of tough, but this is different. It's just different for real.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to click on that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing, and come visit us over at BuckeyeGrove.com for all the best Ohio State information on the web.